You know what I think's happening? Why they have to keep creating new divisions? Because
It's money.
that's one part.
Money.
And because when I watched the video, he's like, "Well, this is supposed to be entry level positions. Like, fucking bikini's the entry level position, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't cut it in bikini, hang it the fuck up and go home." When you come up, I think what's happening is they have to judge what's up there. So you take a look at men's physique. It was all beach bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then everybody started getting shredded and jacked, and like, okay, now that's all we have up there. So we have to reward somebody that's jacked and
Yeah.
shredded.
Pretty much.
And so once you do that, you set the bar higher.
Yep.
And now everybody thinks from their perspective is, oh, that's what they're rewarding now. I got to get bigger and leaner.
Yeah.
It's because as they grow, like you only can judge what's up there. It's not like you can disqualify everybody on the stage, right?
Yeah. That's true.
So as the guys, if they all keep getting bigger at the same time and stuff, the judges are forced to reward it.
Yeah.
I do think that's part of the problem. So now they have to create another division because God forbid there's differences between divisions. They all need to blur together so that we can make any reason to fucking have anybody win. And that's starting to happen. I mean, you look at physique and figure and bikini and now this fitness, and you're like, it's just like the differences are getting real minute.
Yep.
It is.
And, in some of these divisions, not to talk shit about any judges or, because I've never done that, but from what I've seen, it's like some of these divisions, you can make up anything to justify somebody winning.
The Paradise Pump. This is going to be the final episode for 2024. And then we'll resume in 2025. So got a few things to talk about. Probably just recap the year, go over some of the topics that we talked about, and then, go over some of our fitness goals for 2025, our personal goals. And we're going to talk about that new NPC division, that fit model, that bikini, that bikini division, which is basically a throwback
It is.
of when the bikini first started. That's pretty much what it is. But anyway, let's go and see what happened this past year. We started the podcast, and I think our first guest was the Chad Owens, and
Yeah.
we did it outside, and we're just trying to figure it out.
How many months
And
ago was that?
man, when was
I'm
that?
gonna look it
Was
up.
that September?
When was that? No. Wasn't that like summertime? Like,
It was hot as balls.
I
That's
feel
all
like it
know.
was.
Boys,
Wasn't it like?
always hot as balls?
I know. Wasn't it like? I don't know why I think it May, but I could be totally off. But
Yeah, now
Um,
that he's a pro, I would love for him to come back on.
Yeah.
Chad, come back on and talk to us about
6
it.
months ago.
Oh, see,
so May.
summer.
Yeah, 6 months when we started.
Oh no, not May. July. I
Yeah.
don't know. My months are off.
Yeah, because remember I took that week off. from our
That's
vacation
right.
After.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, yeah. So that was cool, and we've just been, this is brand new. We're doing this kind of like learn as you go, add things.
Forged by fire.
Especially the first few if you
Yeah.
watch like the first month or two, I mean, we weren't even in here. We were outside, and yeah, we had one camera, I think. We were playing around. We were just trying to figure it out. At least the mics, we always had good mics. But
It's
yeah.
really cool though. I mean, I like the setup with being out there. It looked
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, because we went, in the middle first, out on the floor, basically. We went in the
Yeah.
corner here, that seemed okay.
I had the gym in the background. Then we
Yeah,
did
it
with
had the
banner
Iron
over
Hawaiian.
here
Yeah, the
after.
banner. Yeah, that wasn't, yeah, we could always, I don't know, if you want to switch it up again.
Yeah, but the outside noise was kind of distracting.
Yeah, the
but
noise was distracting the cars.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and like over there, it's hot. Over here, we got it to a point where it's
Yeah.
pretty cool now.
somewhat comfortable.
It's
Closed
somewhat
off, yeah.
comfortable,
It
closed
actually
off.
made a huge difference when he closed that off with the AC because now it stays in here.
Yeah, because
It's
we
nice.
basically sealed this room is my store. If nobody knows, this isn't the actual gym, and it's my little store slash storage area. But there used to be, it was open, so the yoga room, kind of the heat came in. So now we sealed it off, and then we have a portable AC unit, which is kind of nice. So it keeps the room at a decent temperature. So
Yeah.
that really helps because we used to sit and sweat like major. That was kind of fun.
We went through some major growing
Excuse me.
pains from
Yeah.
the outside to trying to just find a nice location. But even if we did it out in the gym, it's still a nice setup.
Yeah, it came good. And, I think when we started it, I know in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, like try and get a lot of guests on here. And that was surprisingly, I mean, a lot of people, I asked a lot of people, and a lot of people will say, yeah, I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll come on. And then when you follow up, a lot of times they kind of get the picture that you're going to keep asking them. So then they'll tell you, well, actually, no, I don't feel comfortable going on there, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Initially, a lot of people are nice. A lot of people are like, yeah, sure, sure. And that's the initial, because they figure they'll just say that and they'll walk away and you won't bother them. But then
It's
I'm kind
always
of persistent. So,
it's always a good idea until it's not, right? Like, oh fuck, oh
well,
last minute,
if you're
everybody's last minute.
persistent,
Oh, I can't make it. I'm sorry, dude.
yeah,
What are people so afraid of getting on here though?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it, I wondered, is it just because we're a new show? We don't have a ton of followers. Is that why they're like, well, I don't want to waste my time on that show? I don't know. I mean, if say we had 1 million followers, would people be like, yeah, I want to go on that show?
Man,
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know if they just don't want to open up and talk about their, because usually I ask, it's usually about their bio, about their past history, how they came up, why they got into the sport or whatever thing that they're doing. And that's kind of it. And then we get, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I ask anything crazy, but
do
maybe they
you
just don't want to
think
talk.
people are afraid to divulge what kind of um competition prep secrets that they might have, like ancillaries and stuff like that?
No, you want my personal opinion,
Yeah,
and I'll be honest.
yeah.
I just, I just personally think that, I mean, one, they're just like, they think it's a waste of their time to come on here. Like they don't see the value in it. That's what I think personally. And so they're like, yeah, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to go on there. Why? Like, because I do think that part of it is maybe that because, we don't, it's not a huge following, right? Like,
Yeah.
because there is something to be said about, like, say somebody is famous, right? Oh, famous. This person, so and so, is famous. They came on our show, and then, oh yeah, you had that person. Yeah, I want to get on there. Like I think people want to be attached to that. There's some type of thing when it comes to fame or somebody who is famous. I think people really are drawn to that, and so I mean that's what I think, and that's maybe a little like cynical way of thinking. But I just personally
No,
think a lot
I
of people
honestly think that
they
you
just don't
have a
care.
good point there, and it's true. People do have the tendency to jump on the bandwagon,
Hmm.
I mean, we're small, really, really grassroots, and it's a been a rough come up, but this is fun for us to do.
Yeah.
Getting to know people in the fitness community and such, but well,
And
yeah.
honestly, I mean, it's a lot of time. I think people just don't like, it's not worth their time. Like, it's not worth my time to go on that show. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
but
also a nice gesture to help each other out. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes people on this fucking island act like they're in competition with gyms and trainers and stuff. And we're in Hawaii. There's military and you have to stay in shape year round. There's plenty of fucking business for everybody. There's no reason why somebody from one gym can't go to another gym and help promote or be on a podcast or something and vice versa. There's no reason why
you,
that would cause any
and
issues.
I gave that a lot of thought. And I
Yeah.
always thought, like, oh, is it because they're trying to compete? And honestly, I don't even think it's that. Well, for here anyway, no. I think it's funny. I think a lot of people here in this industry, I'm not going to name people, but I feel like there's certain people who they just, and I want to say it's jealous, but they just don't want to get involved with other people. They just want to keep to themselves. They want to do their own thing. And I don't even know if they're thinking, oh, I don't want to compete with this guy because he's got a gym, or I don't know if it's even that so much as they're just like, I don't want to associate with him. I want to do my thing. I don't want to become friends with that person or close to that person. I know who they are, and I'm just going to keep it at that. And I feel like that's what it is a lot of times.
Hmm.
They're not trying to be friends. They're not trying to get close. They just, hey, what's going on? We're cool, but that's it. They don't want anything else. They want to do their own thing, and I'm doing my own thing, and you can stay right
Yeah,
over there.
both very valid points. I honestly do think, yes, to drive the point home, um, committing an hour and a half of your time to come over here and shoot shit with us, it might be a nuisance, might be a burden, might be a
Yeah.
waste of time. And I'm pretty sure you got better things to do, like laundry or fucking your kid's soccer game or
Right.
something.
Right. Exactly. I mean, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Maybe you got to go shopping for food. I don't know. Maybe you work all week and you don't have time, but the weekends, yeah, it's
Yeah,
true. I mean, hey, it's all good.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, whatever. To me, I'm just like, okay, it's cool. I think that what we do, it's fun and we
I
do it.
honestly think, to be honest with you though, like I would love to see more coaches come up on the show, speak on their perspective, their experiences with the people that they have. I mean, it gives other people a chance to be like, oh, you never know who's watching the show. Somebody, it might just give you more business opportunities. So that's another thought for you people out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I mean, we've never been
Is somebody
sorry.
off?
No, we just rolling down to 3, so I'm only reading 3.
we've
Where's
never
everybody?
really this
I
yeah,
just unplugged it.
Okay.
I don't think this is like we're not in competition with anybody, obviously, especially with this podcast. I mean, this just, it's just us doing our thing, talking, and I don't know. My whole thing is I think like, hey, this is something that's going to be there, right? It's preserved, right? You put it on there, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever, you were able to talk about what you do, what you love to do. I mean, unless you're famous already and you've been on a lot of podcasts, then right on, you know what I mean? Cool. That's great. If you haven't, then, this kind of gives you an opportunity to at least kind of talk about it. Cause I mean, who knows, maybe 10 years from now, you might not be doing that anymore. And then you'll be like, oh man, that would have been cool when I was in it, when I was training people. Now I'm not involved in that. And those guys are gone, the show's done, like whatever, who knows? It's like, hey, that could have been an opportunity. You could be on there because it's going to be on the internet. It's going
Yeah.
to be saved there for people to see for years to come. So,
Or
I
maybe
don't know.
that's another perspective that they might be apprehensive about, like, oh fuck, that's gonna be there on the internet for the rest of till
Right. Well,
eternity.
true too.
And
Right.
then to
Yeah.
hear me stumbling over my words, maybe, and that might be another thing. People are not comfortable on the mic. They
Hmm.
might
Yeah, that's true.
be shy or whatever, and
Oh, that's a valid point.
don't like
Yeah.
being under the it's so weird because most of these people in this fitness industry, you guys are under the lights. You guys are in front of the judges, but then in front of the camera and a microphone, you guys all shy now. Like that's crazy.
That is the
This is
thing.
good
Yeah.
practice for you
That
guys.
is a
It
thing.
it builds your personality, charisma, and everything else. So when you get up on stage, like there's that much less stage fright that happens because you are in front of the camera.
Yeah.
In my
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah. It's all good though. Like I said, they just don't give a fuck. No,
basically.
I know. It's just the honest to
Well,
God
let's
truth.
just for
Like a
real.
majority
Bottom
of
line,
people
this
in
is a
in
waste
life
of
in
their
general,
time.
right? In life in general, I mean, everybody has their little circle, right, of friends that are close and family, and then outside of that, it's just like I don't give a fuck. Like
Acquaintances.
acquaintances, it's like whatever. Do I give a shit? Do I really want to give this person time? I don't care. But it benefits them. It's not just for us, right?
Yeah.
But whatever, it's cool. Again, so that's interesting. But anyway, yeah, that's I still think okay, the show's fun and we always come up with great topics just with us itself, with
Mm-hmm.
the three of us or four or five, whoever's here, whoever
Yeah.
makes it. Yeah. And so I don't know, I think we did hit on a lot of good topics. We do definitely talk about a lot of gear and PEDs and all that stuff on this show. Um, and I think part of that is because honestly, a lot of people, I don't, even though there's a lot of information out there, I think a lot of people don't really understand it very well. There's a lot of people that still don't understand it. And so I think that's part of why we actually talk about it. It's not like I talk about it because like I love PEDs or whatever. Like, I mean, I do. It's cool. It works. But I think it's just one of those topics that like people need to get educated on.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and a lot of people don't, surprisingly. Like a lot of people, there are some people where I'm surprised that they have a ton of knowledge, and I'm like, man, wow, you're a young guy and you actually know a lot. And then there's other people who have been doing it for 10 years, and I talk to them and they don't have much knowledge at all. And I'm just
Still
like,
dumb as a
dude,
box of
like, what have
rocks.
you been doing in the last 10, 15 years? You've been running gear and you still don't even know half the stuff that you're talking about. Like, it's crazy to me. So yeah, it's interesting, and yeah, that topic is always It's always a hot topic, right?
So speaking of PEDs, not to be on the topic of PEDs, Jed, I'd like your opinion. We all are, okay, I can only speak for myself. I am happy about RFK and in his position that he'll be taking with this administration. Now that he's been trying to like, excuse me, really get down on all of these food additives, all these preservatives, and all of these, let's just say, um, he wants to bring more peptides into the scene because it is a market that the FDA is not really approving right now. So
Mm.
how do you feel about how humans as a whole could benefit from RFK and peptides moving forward?
Well, peptides alone, one thing that is good about them is you can get, even though it's not as strong as taking growth hormone, you can get the good without getting any of the bad side effects. Like if you're taking growth hormone to get stronger joints, you can just switch to BPC 157 and there's less side effects, you know. When we used to do the IHF podcast, I tested that when I retouched my bicep and it healed up and really quicker than it should. I think it would, they've done some crazy stuff with the peptide market. I know there was a while where nobody believed it worked, and then when the BPC came out, all of a sudden everybody became believers.
Yeah.
Because it works very well. I mean, there's times where I've lightly torn my rotator from doing bench, and I'll start putting it in there in 2 weeks. I'm good. You know, so I think that's going to be more accessible. Another thing I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday was I think TRT is going to be better, easier to get.
Yes.
If any of you guys have experience trying to get it now, for some reason, especially in the military, I mean, if I were president, I'd want my military jacked on everything in fucking
Not
kitchen
only
sink.
Jack,
right?
dude,
Like
I'd want
the
alphas.
recruiter.
Heck
I want the
yeah.
recruiter jacked because then
Yeah.
more kids will want to sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's like if you report any testosterone problems, like you have to go through all this red tape, and it takes forever to finally get TRT. Then they want to do the gel, or we want to try these pellets.
Yeah,
like,
that's crap.
The pellets are horrible. I had a client on the pellets, and what they do is they jam a shitload of them in your butt, and then you bleed like crazy everywhere. And then over
Oh
the
my
course of like a
God.
few months, they deteriorate,
What?
dissolve in there.
Just take a shot. I don't
Yeah.
get
So
it.
the probabilities of infection are high because of something like that. That's
So
crazy.
he
That's
sent
weird.
me a picture because he said he couldn't lift for like a few days after. Like he can't be that
Why?
bad.
Yeah.
He sent me a picture of his jeans, and they were red and soaked after they did
What?
the injection with the pellets.
Why would you do that?
I don't know
And then
about
you
these
have the
pellets,
gel,
dude.
you know, and like if you have kids, you don't want to use the gel. If you put the gel in your arm to pick up your kid or something, all of a sudden your little girl's growing a fucking mustache, you know. So it's just and you have to be way below the low line
Mm-hmm.
before you can get it. It's like if low is 250 and you're 255, like, well, I can't prescribe it. Well,
Yeah.
obviously you need to be higher than 255.
Yeah.
Right.
So I really hope all that shit goes out the window because this whole like demasculinization of humanity is really starting to piss me off. Like
Yeah.
there's some fucking soy boys out there right now, and they're just getting on my fucking nerves.
Soy boy.
And I know I'm telling you that's on a tangent, but there's gonna be a fucking backlash where everything goes extreme the other way to have to put balance back in the force. 'Cause I already see it coming. Because people are really getting, I don't know. I get tired of seeing this shit.
I'm here for it. I
Yeah.
want to see that shit happen. I'll be excited to bring like men back like
That's
that,
funny.
you know. How do you
It's
feel
true.
about this whole, you know, TRT being more on the forefront and peptides with RFK coming in
Oh,
this
yeah.
administration?
I'm all about it. I mean, I've been all about this since the 90s. You know what I mean? Like I always thought that the laws and what they were doing, even back in the 90s, it was outrageous. You know, like what do you're gonna criminalize this performance drug. Like when and the United States is the worst. You know what I mean? Like there's so many countries where it's legal. I mean, really,
Yeah.
you can get prescribed legally. You don't have a problem. It's been like that forever.
Mm-hmm.
And yet over here, I mean, there's people that have been thrown in jail for it, paid huge fines, probation, felony records. I mean, you know, like that's crazy over steroids. Like
Right.
makes no sense. You know what I mean? It just never did. And so now it's becoming a little more mainstream. Peptides, really good. I definitely like, I've done BPC 157 and TB 500. I don't know. I mean, it's just like anything else, I guess. You don't really necessarily notice it for like, I didn't notice anything, but I guess it worked, right? You know, and a lot of people are saying it's working. So I'm like, sure. So I'll just use it. And hopefully, you know, it helps me. I don't know, my joints feel better. My body feels better overall. But there's nothing that I'm like noticing, obviously. It's like, okay, that's noticeable. I don't know. But I know that's been proven. I mean, there's so many people who have used it now, and I know personally that have gotten phenomenal results. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's about time, honestly. I mean, it's ridiculous that, like I
What
said, it's been years they've been punishing people for doing
Yeah.
this stuff.
what about psychedelics? I know he's also big on making those more legal.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
shrooms.
I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere he wanted to re-release all the research that they did back in the 40s and
Yes,
50s before I
absolutely.
think the Nixon administration came in and
Yep.
wiped it all out. They were doing experiments with LSD,
LSD for the military with PTSD.
PTSD, and
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
and it was helping
It
people.
works.
And didn't the guy who started AA started after tripping off mushrooms, and he
Hmm.
started AA, and that's
I think
how
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know Dan Crenshaw's another one that's really big into pushing for vets, and then eventually wants to push it for active duty with PTSD.
Mm.
And you know, I think that would be really good. I think ibogaine is one that I'm
Yeah.
interested in. I've read a lot about. I've heard people do one treatment of that, and it completely changes them for the better.
Yeah, a lot more beneficial than the ketamine treatment's been.
The what?
Ketamine.
Yeah.
I've got experience with that. It's definitely I'm still on the fence. I got prescribed it for a couple months, and it's not. I mean, the after effects are okay because you're kind of more confident, but so are you off of shrooms. Like after shrooms, you feel better
Yeah,
and
so
you're
I'm
good for
saying
weeks.
that
So I'm like,
ibogaine is far more
Mm.
beneficial than
yeah,
ketamine.
the ketamine just the trip itself is fucking weird.
And isn't it crazy how iboga and ayahuasca is all natural? It's all
Yeah.
plants, it's all shit like that, but they want to give you prescription medication
It makes you
instead.
wonder. I just got in a conversation with someone out here about this. We were talking about mushrooms and about how it's something that comes out of the ground and
Yeah.
it's almost made for us to use for mental health and to reset our head and all this stuff. And it's like it's so crazy, like that can't be coincidental. Like who put that there, knowing that we would need that stuff?
Jesus did.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you think about it.
Wasn't
It's like,
Jesus doing
what are the
shrooms?
They were
odds?
doing shrooms.
They were
dude.
doing shrooms back
They
then.
were.
I actually got the book on that. I haven't read it yet.
I'm
but
just, you Bible thumpers might be upset for me about saying this, but Jesus put shrooms and he put THC and everything on the earth. That's all natural. But yeah, you guys can read about it later.
Yeah. The thing is, I never been big like conspiracy guy or the government, all that stuff. But honestly, it's like I feel like I do feel like I don't know if to use the word the government wants people like just wants to keep everybody at a certain level, but I kind of feel it's kind of the thing, right? Like all this stuff that could help people, right?
Yeah.
And it's not when you say government, it's probably more like the pharmaceutical companies, right? They don't really want to cure people, right? They
No.
don't
you'll
really
make no money.
want,
You don't make any money
right?
that
They
way.
don't really want to. They'll give you a little bit of help, but they don't want you to get cured.
No.
They want you to always be dependent on them, so you're constantly using your insurance, spending your money, and then you're stuck.
Look at HIV.
Yeah,
They've got all these medications that can suppress it, make it non-detectable and non-transmissible. But you mean tell me you can't fucking kill it? Get the
right.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Because if they kill it, they can't spend $1,000 a month on all the medication to keep it down.
Right.
Just like cancer, how many
It's like
years of
cancer.
study, right?
Cancer. I mean, how much money have they spent on cancer research? And I mean, and there has been a few people who, a couple of those doctors who, that one guy who claimed that he found a cure for it, right?
And then they eventually end up dead.
They actually tried to jail him. Remember? I don't know if you remember that.
too.
They actually tried to convict him. They were coming after him and stuff. It was crazy. But anyway, I'm not an expert that's in that topic.
This
but
is just our opinion,
yeah,
by the
I'm
way.
not an expert in the topic. But it's interesting to me. Like it's like, yeah, like
Allegedly.
it's just how it is, right? It's the United States, especially, like I find it's just crazy, like the United States, like there's other countries and they don't do this kind of stuff. There's a lot of countries, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of countries that are like pretty bad. Like I'm glad I'm here, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of countries that don't do this kind of stuff that the US does, and it's just like, wow, like I don't know why
It's
it's
supposed
like
to be the
this.
free country.
It's supposed to be the freest, and But I mean, honestly, it's really not. Like, it's unfortunate, but there's so many rules and stipulations, and it's just like, and I never even felt that before as much as I have since I've owned a gym, of how, yeah, I make more money than I used to, but I do all these things, right? I have a business, I pay all these different taxes and all these different things that I do. And it's crazy to see, like,
Taxation
wow,
is theft.
taxation is
You get taxed
crazy.
every single time your tax dollar is spent, you know?
No, we're getting taxed. I mean, it's constant taxing, right?
Yeah.
I tax people, they're taxing me. That it's just everybody, it's like tax, tax, tax. Like what?
Yeah.
Like,
And what's worse is we're like, look at where all of our money is going. Not back to us.
well, that's the other part.
Yeah.
The people who run the country, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just the political figures, right? It's the big companies, the big pharma, all these other companies that are involved that have billions of dollars, right? So,
Yep.
like, like I said before, I mean, we're just sheep, right?
We are. As far as my perspective is peptides and like RFK in his position that I'm all for it. This is twofold, whether it be PEDs or peptides. And thank goodness for the UGL people, to be honest with you. If
Yeah.
the scientists were able to continuously study how beneficial any type of steroids are for people versus not, could you imagine what steroids, like what kind of concierge steroids we would have today
Oh,
in
yeah.
comparison to the stuff that's still being used was the stuff back from in the 80s, 60s,
The
70s,
advancements would
80s.
be way
And the
ahead.
advancements, if it was allowed, it would be like light
Oh.
years ahead.
Like a
So,
trend with no side effects.
yeah. So, right, exactly that. I'm looking forward to that. And I think the enhanced games is gonna be like a springboard for it as well too, from peptides and PEDs. And so even with the peptides, now that we're stepping into a new generation, more and more and more peptides are coming readily available and familiar, whether or not they're 50C or A, compounding agencies are able to experiment a little bit more. So there's going to be a lot more cutting edge peptides that are on the way, more than just like, I know a lot of people are familiar with like Ozempic, the GLP, GIP, the fat burning agonists and stuff like that, but there's way much more coming down the pipe that will help the bodybuilding industry and coaches get their clients or themselves prepared for shows or even better health by upregulating their mitochondria to begin with,
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Melanotan 2 is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Melanotan
I used that, but it made my lips dark.
I knew somebody whose
My lips.
I knew somebody whose lips turned blue, and we had
That's how mine.
we had to make them stop.
That's how mine did. It kind of turned blue. I think if you have that pigment already, like, if you have that darker lips already, like, it's just gonna get darker.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
pigment in your body is gonna get darker,
Right.
right?
Because
I
it did. It
just-
got me, like, I was getting darker, but my lips got really dark. And I was like, man, this is weird. And like, I'm getting off of it. Like,
I get told I look Puerto Rican when I use it. I get
Well, and
dressed to
it
shave, I
works for
shave.
erectile dysfunction too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the other side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And even like treating symptoms with peptides, like high cholesterol, heart problems. And I'm not a doctor, by the way. This is just allegedly and my own opinion that there are peptides that will help more so than taking prescription drugs that are far more safer to use as well too.
Mhm.
So you guys should look down the peptide road.
yes, for sure. Get on the peptide, baby.
Yeah.
Stay off the trend. Get on the peptide. And, so yeah, that's one thing. We what else? Because we did. I remember not that long ago. Actually, we were doing the mental health one.
Mhm.
That was an interesting topic. I feel like since 2020, mental health has declined majorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
feel like
after the
it as well
COVID, it's
too.
gotten a lot like just worse. I think people have isolated themselves a lot more, and
Hmm.
I think social gatherings are not. I don't think it's as often. I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like people don't go out as much.
Do you think social media in itself had a lot to do with how people don't
Probably.
socialize in person
Yep.
anymore as well
Because they
too?
think it's the same.
Yep.
And people have bigger balls behind a keyboard, and they don't learn life lessons like getting punched in the mouth that way. So they don't really know how to act around people.
It's funny, like I don't know, like I used to go to the bar a lot. We did not have like the accessibility of phones. Yeah, we had phones back then, but not everybody was like this. You're at a bar. You're supposed to be there to socialize,
Yeah.
not fucking like stick your head in the phone.
Right.
But now you see it so
Oh,
frequently,
it's
even at like
all the time.
at restaurant at the tables, like everybody's on their phone. You guys aren't even like socializing amongst each other.
Dude,
That is
concerts
so
are starting to
fucking.
shut that down.
That's
Oh, they
irritating
are?
as
Yeah.
hell.
I know Ghost is going on tour next year. I'm thinking about going to see them, and they're doing a no cell phone
Oh,
policy.
oh, really?
And you think, man, this is fucked up. But then you listen to the lead singer. He's like, I'm tired of going out on stage and seeing everybody do this when they're not enjoying the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I'm okay with that. It's
Yeah.
a whole living.
That's
it takes
true.
us out of live. We don't live in the moment anymore. And that's
Yeah.
one of my biggest weaknesses. I'm always thinking elsewhere. Like
Mm.
you got to be in the moment, and you
Yeah.
can't if you're always in your phone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in total agreement with you there. And you see people, whether it be anywhere, concert, wherever you could be, instead of enjoying the moment, everybody's taking out their phone to record it, to repost
Right.
it onto social media
Right.
for everybody else to repost on social media. You're
Yeah.
gonna fucking see it from everybody else's post too.
Yeah.
So like social media has become like fucking boring for me personally.
Yeah. Social media. Well, and social media has become, I mean, a lot of it's just like a joke. Like it's just jokes. It's just people, they're just doing parodies. They're doing stupid shit on there. I mean, it's like a comedy hour, right? Just find
It
silly things like,
is.
oh, that's funny. Animal voiceovers or what, I mean, all these things. And you're like, oh, okay. It's like, it's become this little like comedic thing on, I don't know. It's funny. Depending on what you want to look at, right? There's like a lot of like sex stuff on there, girls are on there doing their thing, trying to get you to watch their OnlyFans. There's then there's that kind of comedy stuff, funny stuff. People make these funny reels. And then there's like psychology reels and yeah, so there's all these different things, right? But some of it's cool.
You know, the two that I really, really appreciate on social media, one is Goob. I don't know if you guys follow Goop, but he's the guy who's always busting people for photoshopping their videos and
Oh, I
or
have seen that
photoshopping,
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
making like smaller snatched waists and bigger ass or bigger shoulders and
Yeah.
biceps. Goob is one that I like, and Joey Swole about
Yeah.
gym
Oh yeah, he
culture.
always
Yeah, those two I
he
really
busts people.
appreciate. I mean,
Yeah.
let people like, yeah, the gym
Yeah.
culture is,
Yeah, Joey Scholl is interesting because he was kind of big. I mean, he had a good following before,
yeah.
and he was like just a fitness influencer.
Mhm.
And then he totally changed his whole thing into this
Yeah.
whole like you have to do better thing,
Yeah.
the gym thing.
I mean, but it makes so much sense because people with this social media culture now, like everybody thinks, not everybody, but so many people think that they're an influencer recording their video and getting upset of people walking through their video. It's like, you're in a public space. It's not your gym. It's not your sidewalk. It's not like,
Yeah, that's
the world
crazy.
doesn't revolve around you. I'm sorry.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I think it depends on where you live too, right? Like it's funny, like here, and granted, this is my gym, but even in Hawaii in general, like the stuff that I see on social media that is going on, like road rage incidents or whatever, all these things, like it never happens to me, And I'm like, and I'm thinking, I never have issues when a cop stops me, or I never. And I'm thinking, that's interesting. Like
I wonder if they
it's the
provoke it for the
people.
Instagram
Well,
though.
I don't know, but I'm like, it's people's attitudes, right?
Yeah.
And how they're interacting with other people. Is really what it is, right? I mean, every once in a while you get somebody who's just off the friggin' chain and they're just gonna go nuts. Okay, that happens once in a while, but overall, it's like I feel like a lot of stuff you see where it's this crazy stuff. I'm like, how did that get like that?
Or like people who are so busy trying to get it on recording more than they are trying to help the situation. That
yeah,
fucking bothers
that's
me.
crazy, right? A situation happens and right away they're like, the phone is out, and I'm thinking, man, I never think of that. I never think of like, oh, let me film this. Like I'm like busy, like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like looking at the situation.
We can assist if necessary.
Yeah, but there's always that somebody who's got like their phone is immediately out and they're filming it. I'm like, how do they? This is a thing.
Yeah.
How do they even remember to do it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, because let's just be honest, right? Sometimes something happens and you got 5 seconds to respond, and something bad could happen. So in that 5 seconds, you're busy getting your phone, getting the camera ready, you
When
you could have saved a life,
intervene and
like
save
something,
something.
right?
Yep.
Instead, you're like, well, let me get this filming first, and then something happens,
That's
So
crazy. We are so fucking left field as a society. What the fuck happened?
2010, baby. 2000, but the iPhone came out in like what, 2000, was it 10? 2010?
I don't
The
even
smartphone,
remember.
I
Fuck.
think so. It was 2010. No,
For people
2009, 10. So
easily accessible to a smartphone inside the palm of their hand, half of society sure acts fucking stupid.
well, you watch
Fuck.
people. I watch people. I try to compare. So over the last 30 years, whatever, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, I try to compare when I go out to places, I go to the mall or something, and I look at people when they're walking by or what their attitudes are, and it's interesting, and I see it like it's funny because most people they're actually like if people who come in here, say at this gym, they come in here, they're totally nice, right? Because this is my gym. I say hi to them. They're very nice to me and they're very like hi and they're talkative and they're so but outside, it's interesting. Like you see people walking and especially like women, right? They're like, man, they have this look on their face a lot of times, like like somebody shot their dog or something. Like they're just like do not look at me,
Or
like
have this look on their
weird.
face looking at you like, I have a boyfriend. And,
Yeah, or
yeah.
whatever. Or they're walking and you're over
And you're like,
here
what?
and they will not look at you. Even I've even had this at a restaurant where I have a server, she gives us the menu. I'm waiting. There's other servers, right, walking by. She works there. And instead of just like, I'm like sitting here and I just look up and I see her and they're like completely like
Checked out.
avoiding eye contact with me. And I'm like, you're an employee. Like you would think you would just be like, hi, just be like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like not a big deal. But a lot of times they won't, especially females, they'll do this. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, no, I'm not trying to hit on you. Like you work in the restaurant. You should be actually acknowledging your customers.
Yeah.
We're sitting here. We're here for the experience. And you're just like walking by like we don't exist. It's very odd to me. I'm like, and it happens often. It
Yeah.
happens often. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This way it's a different
Or
vibe.
maybe this generation they're checked out. They don't want to work.
I think so. Maybe that's it too. Because a lot of them, they're younger, right? They're in their like 20s and stuff. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I just find it fascinating. I'm just like, wow, they're just. But then here's the weird thing about it. If you go, hey, hi, how's it going? They go, oh, hi, and then they'll be nice to you. You know what I mean? Like they'll actually talk to you, and they'll be normal
Yeah.
if you get them like, hey, come here, like, then they're gonna be okay to you. But if they can at all costs, they'd rather not say a word to you, avoid you, not look at you.
Do
That's
you
what they
think that's
prefer.
a lot of upbringing?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's so weird. It's so weird because they're not walking by smiling for sure. They don't.
Because we just talked about the whole thing about social media, being on their phones more and
Mhm.
not socially interacting
Yeah.
in person. So they really don't know how to interact
Maybe
with people.
maybe they just haven't had, but you're right. But then you're in a job where you have to interact. You know what I
Customer
mean?
service is your job
Customer
and you
service, like yeah,
you don't know
like
how to
this
do
is your
it.
job. You have to talk to people. Like I don't know, but it's pretty interesting. And of course, this doesn't go for everybody, but this is just what I observe with a lot of people. And I'm gonna go with the demographic of like females in that 20 to 30 age
Always
bracket.
thinking like, oh, he's hitting on me. I got a
Probably,
boyfriend.
which is so funny.
Sweetheart, not all
Which
the
is so
time.
funny. It's like but it's probably you're probably right. That's a big thing, right? And then
Maybe he's
maybe
looking at you because you got a booger on your.
well, and I think we've talked about this before, but I think some people are so high on themselves as far as like, and ain't nothing wrong with being high on yourself, but as far as like, oh, I got guys blowing me up in my DMs all the time, I got 20 dudes right now in
Ew.
my DMs, and then I'm just a dude outside, and I'm just like looking at, oh hey, how's it going? And they're like, shh, waste my time. I got 20 dudes in my DM right now,
Yeah, but they see her in person, like fucking 18 of them are gonna kick rocks. Or
Well, in reality, let's be honest, they're
Yes.
probably not even going to even out of 20 dudes, they probably might even only talk to one or two of them, and they actually might actually know that guy. Maybe who knows?
I mean, I say it's because a lot of these women like to filter and do certain angles and stuff in the
Well, that's
photos,
true
and then they
too.
meet him in person. You're like, what the fuck is this? This wasn't what I saw on there.
That's true.
So yeah,
And we have a lot of influencers come in here, like a lot of mainland influencers, and you see them, and some of them do look good. Like some of them, you go, oh yeah, okay, that they look like they do on their page, you know. But I mean, it's nothing special. It's not like, I'm just like, okay, just another person who
Yeah.
happens to have a really good social media page and take really good pictures. Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you could take good pictures, have a big social media following, but fucking at the end of the day, you're just an asshole. Like
well, yeah, that sucks. I mean,
that sucks as well too.
yeah.
You're still a nobody. I don't know. That's why I'm never really starstruck on anybody.
on
I don't fangirl on
social media, people.
any,
Yeah, for
not
sure.
even no Hollywood elitists or
Yeah.
like no.
Yeah, I wonder.
I will give you credit where credit's due. Like let's say uh Iris Kyle, 10-time, you know, Olympian.
Yeah.
Yes, like I took a picture with her and maybe two pictures with her, to be honest with you. And I acknowledged, like, holy shit, she's a
Yeah.
10-time Olympian. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I want to take a picture with her. But I'm like, oh my God, it's Iris. No, not anything like that.
yeah, I wouldn't even go that far because I have come across people that I wanted to meet and talk to, but I think fuck they get tired of this
Well,
shit, so I
actually,
don't
that
bother them.
that two times
Yeah.
that I saw Iris, she came up to me.
Yeah,
So, and one was in the at the gym at the body shop. She's like, "Hey, look like you're competing." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of am." So she gave me a little bit insight, and then she was at the show. She's like, "Hey, you were
yeah.
for the one from the shop." I'm like, "Hey, yeah, hey, thanks." So we took pictures.
When I did like an independent pro wrestling circuit for a couple years in North Carolina, and they would hire bigger names to come down. That's how we promoted the shows. And they always beat it in our heads like, do not act like a fangirl when these people come back here. Don't even talk about wrestling. Like, just, because they get tired of that shit.
Mm.
Yeah,
And, they'll come back. And usually what gets them to start talking is if you talk about something completely off topic, like hunting or something like that. And all of a sudden, they're like, the person's a big hunter. Now you're talking to them for a fucking hour. You're
Mm.
like, hey, you remember that match when this and this? And they're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when I've been in gyms and I've seen current and future Mr. Olympias come in and stuff like that. Even though I do want us to talk to them really bad, I just leave them alone because I don't want
Yeah.
to bother them.
I don't know. It's interesting, like, because that's what they do, right? Like, they probably got into it because they really enjoy doing it, right? Like, whatever it is, whether it's a professional athlete or actor or whatever, or bodybuilder. I feel like, okay, like that's what I don't know. I feel like, yeah, you want to give them their space, but at the same time, I don't like, why wouldn't they want to talk about it a little bit? Because
it's the fan base that as well made them popular
right,
and give them the
and
dollars. Yeah,
that's what they actually
yeah.
do is they do
I
that
mean,
thing. So
my hats off to I've seen I went to a couple of Olympias where uh, Dana Lynn Bailey, she'll stay till the last person that's
mhm.
in her line. And, a lot of the Olympians, they're just like, oh, fuck it. I'm done for the night. And they'll just, call it a day. So, people like that who actually take the time to talk to people,
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome. But yeah, I don't, oh my God, can I get a picture? No, like, I'm like that.
yeah, no, yeah, because we had Keon come in here,
Yeah.
the 212 Olympia, what 2 weeks ago or something. I got to post pictures on it, but yeah, he was cool. Like I
Hmm.
talked to him, I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" Like,
A lot of Olympians come
and there,
through.
we have a bunch, and I don't know. I mean, I give him the respect. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, you won the Olympia. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's freaking
I'm
awesome.
not, I'm not like jumping on their freaking dick, like, oh my god, this guy. But no, but I'm like, hey, that's cool, man. Like, you look good, dude. Like, yeah, that's great. Like, I like, yeah, take a picture, whatever. Even like, when like The Rock was coming in here, I mean, that's like next level, right? This
Yeah.
guy's like mega star, super famous, very, very, very rich. Like, so I can't even imagine what he deals with on a
Yeah.
daily basis. Like, but again, it was like, yeah, I was like, wow, that's cool having him here. I was just like, right on. Like, it's nice to have somebody that is in this environment that goes, yeah, man, I like your spot. It's a cool. it makes me feel like, oh, okay, well, this guy who's well traveled, who's very well known, says I have a good gym. Well, that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
that's one thing that I really like about this place as well too. It's name in itself. There's got to be a reason why a lot of Olympians, pro bodybuilders, or stars come through to IHF. You know, it speaks for
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. And you know, I never I never even thought of that stuff when I was making it. Like I really never thought like one day there's going to be some, you know, some well-known people, some top pro bodybuilders or Olympias or actors or anybody come in here. Like I never even thought of it. Like literally did not cross my mind. I just thought, I just want to make this gym and, you know, I want to do something that I really love. That was it. Like I want to have a cool gym. Like that's kind of it. That's literally all I thought.
But what's pretty cool about that as well too, you found your purpose by building this gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to find a purpose and then to, for whatever reason, it attracted people
Hmm.
outside of the island even to
Yeah.
come, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I like how that is. And it's like, oh, okay. Like I just kind of pieced it together. I just pieced it together with
But
what
like
I could
we're
get,
talking
you
about
know?
from like what was it, the second episode or whatever, or third maybe, you put a lot of thought behind the equipments and the machines
Yeah.
that are here.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I did. Initially, it was tough, right? Initially, the first few years, I, it was like 50%, I felt like, because I didn't have enough money. And then I had other equipment in here that I didn't necessarily really want, but it was here. I needed it to kind of fill the space, but I wasn't really happy with all of it. So my goal was to kind of like change it out over time. And that was what I was like, okay, it's going to take me a little bit of time, right? I got to make some money, all this stuff. So eventually, and it took years, eventually it's gotten to where it is now where I mean, I don't ever feel like it's 100% done, but I feel like it's close,
you're
you know?
close, and I mean, it's always going to be like that dangling carrot that you're always going to
Yes.
chase because, equipment's the evolution
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
whatever, yada yada. But you have like for even some of the old school equipment that's here, they're very practical and it fucking
Yeah.
works. So for the people who's never been to IHF, you guys got to come and check it out, see what he has to offer, and I don't know, give it a whirl. There's
Yeah.
got to be
I
a
mean,
reason why people come
well,
here.
and there's like we said before, there's a lot of coaches that have never been here to not even see
Yeah.
what we have. And it's like, okay, well, whatever. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fine as well too, if that's your thing.
You
But
know, like, yeah, mm, whatever floats your boat, buddy.
I like when I do have casual conversations with people, I always kind of when they ask, "Oh, what gym do you go to?" Yeah, I tell them here because of the diverse amount of equipment that you do have, and it's like you're not really waiting for somebody to get off unless that's your
Yeah.
actual like favorite piece of equipment. Then sure, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There's so much here to choose
You don't
from,
have
so
to
much
wait.
here to do, and even with talking about evolution with bodybuilding science and what people are coming to find as well too. Like your new prime, was it primal equipment?
Fine. Yeah.
Prime,
Yeah.
right? Where you can hit top, bottom, or mid
Yeah.
range,
Yeah.
and you're gonna find out like wherever is your weak spot that you're trying to work through, you can actually target whether it be top, bottom, or mid range through that muscle. So you guys ought to check that out as well too.
Yeah. Yeah. The Prime's some of the best, you know, and like the people don't know the history because it did start out as a company called Strive. And that was in the 90s, late 90s, I think. And it was weird because it never really took off. I remember going to certain gyms had it in the mainland and I remember trying it and I was like, oh, this is cool. Seems pretty cool. But even I mean, again, I wasn't training out of that gym, so I didn't have a chance to use it that much. But I was like, oh, this seems cool. And then I'd use it a couple times and then I'd come back to my other gym where we didn't have it. So I remember it wasn't a thing. And then like Prime, I think they bought it out or something. They bought the name, forget. But then they ended up making their own version of it, which is pretty much the same thing.
It's
Just-
almost identical.
It's just the colors change, you know, the padding, like certain things changed on it, but the frame and the design is like the same thing. And brilliant. And everyone's like, oh, Prime, so good. And it's like, yeah, it is good, but it's that design is old, you know. That
Yeah.
design is like 30 years old. But there you go. I said it before. Like I feel like fitness equipment peaked probably around the late 90s, early 2000s, I feel like most of the fitness equipment designs peaked at that point. And now they have some stuff that come out here and there. They got a couple, there's little things here and there. Probably more so like the booty, the glute stuff a little bit because that became a
That
big
became
trend.
huge. That
So
market's
that wasn't as
huge.
big back in the day. That has developed a lot of new machines, but overall, like chest machines, arm machine, you're not really not a whole lot. Even back machines, you haven't seen a lot of design changes or anything since, like I said, 25 years ago. I mean, it's just been kind of set like that. So the legs and the glutes, yeah, I think that maybe we've seen a bunch of new stuff come out.
Absolutely. That industry is huge. The growing of the glutes things.
Mm,
I'm not just talking for female divisions, but as well as guys, the way you
yeah.
guys fit your trunks. I mean, looks kind of weird. You might have big sweeping quads with no ass or
No
no
booty.
glutes.
The dudes that don't have any ass, like big upper bodies and like just no booty at all. It's like, oh, dude, that does not look good.
Do you really think the coming of the glute machines and stuff made a big difference? Because people had asses back in the day and they didn't have all those machines.
Well, it's because of squats, right?
Yeah.
People squatted a lot. People did a lot of squats. I think that was very popular exercise. I mean, everybody started off with squats. It was like do squats, get in there, squat first, and then move on to your next thing. And I think that was why and they were doing good squats, good form, deep squats. So they were building their glutes on that. I think hip thrust is totally helpful, like for targeting glutes for sure. And I recognized that years ago. I remember when bikini first kind of came out and I started training girls on hip thrusts and I was like, man, that's a good exercise. Like that is for just building mass in the booty. That's a good one. So that to this day, that's probably one of my core glute builders. I mean, now you have all these fancy ones, right? I mean, you got they got all these leg lift, they got the kickback things on the Smith machine with all these fancy things, but those to me, those are like shaping exercises. Those aren't necessarily like compound builders, right? Like mass builders. I don't really think so. I still think like squats, hip thrusts, sumo squats. I mean, those ones, RDLs even, you can do some good RDLs. Like those are going to be more, you can go heavy on those and really target glutes to me. Not really leg lifts, and things like that, like kickbacks and step ups.
Yeah, they
I don't think
help
so.
with glutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about well, okay, from my case in scenario, I can't get under the bar because of my back problem.
Yeah.
The extensions and all of that other stuff, it's a little bit too fancy for my
Hmm.
back. I have
Yeah.
to keep it really like super PG, and
Yeah.
if I'm doing it, I'm doing it really light, or even just with bands to just start
Oh wow.
the
Okay.
stim, and then do something like the abductors for glutes, and there's variations of
You know,
abductors.
speaking of the ad and abductors, it's funny. Back in the day, in like the '90s and even the early 2000s, I never seen guys using that. Like hardly ever. It was mainly girls. Always was girls. Nowadays, I come in here. There's like dudes using it all the time, and there's sometimes I want to go in there and use it, and it's like there's a dude on it all the time. I'm like, wow, like there's a lot of guys using this machine nowadays, like or both of them, abductor and adductor. I'm thinking, when did that become a thing? Because honestly, guys used to not touch those machines.
I didn't start doing adductor until I noticed that doing it got the nerve impulses stronger on the inner leg when you pose.
Mm,
And nothing looks worse than to be shredded and that fucking muscle on the inside of the leg does not show up when you flex your leg. So it looks like the inside of your leg's fat because
yeah,
they can't get it to pop.
yeah.
So one of the first posing coaches I ever had made me do that high rep and holds and stuff all the time, and I can always get that to show up now. That's why I do it.
That's the sartorius muscle. Sartorius.
Adductors. So if you
Yeah,
guys
it's the
don't know,
sartorius. I think.
add, bringing it together, adductors,
Good girls.
Yeah.
ab,
Add out.
AB,
Those are bad
outlays.
girls.
Those are bad girls. Good girls,
Well, you call it the
abductors,
yes or no, right? Yes,
yes,
no,
nos.
yes,
Yeah, so like
whatever.
people back injury like me, those had been very beneficial. AB ductors, not quite. like what you call those, like hip thrusts or whatever, not weighted. I use bands, like whatever, but it's more of like a triple extension versus a hip thrust.
Mm.
So tricks to the trade. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it bother you when you see grown ass men doing hip thrusts on the machine?
Ah,
It fucking irks me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it
It
bothers
really
me.
irks me.
I
And I
don't
know I
because
need to
does
work
it?
on my
I
glutes,
have
but
my
still.
clients do it. Every once in a while we'll put it in there. Doesn't do it every workout, but and I even throw it in sometimes. No, it doesn't bother me. I think it's a good exercise for guys to do, like we
Yeah,
were
it's a
talking
great
about
exercise.
for the booty, right? I mean, especially as men get older, they lose their ass. Like
Yeah, mine's went down.
so,
And since I can't do
ye-
squats, I'm gonna
right.
have to do it, but I'm still gonna talk shit
But does
about
it
it.
look funny? I mean, maybe a little bit. It kind
You
of
see
does.
If
like
you
a grown
moan
ass
Yeah.
doing it,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be like,
If you moan, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some girls moan like overly moan, I think. I have I have a couple. It's like,
if
okay.
if grown ass men gonna be moaning, I don't
Yeah.
know,
If
but
grown ass men be moaning on that one, then we might have a problem. Like,
The
then we're
stand
gonna
okay.
take out our phone and just
I know.
over the wall. We're gonna
Yeah. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I like the standing one you have better than the
You like the
other
standing
one.
one?
The other one I can't get to line up right, but the standing one I
The
like.
lying one, really?
Yeah,
The booty
I
builder
don't
lying?
like it.
Oh.
Yeah, that booty builder one, it's a little tricky. It
Yeah,
there's
it
some
takes a little
compression
practice.
on
I like it,
yeah.
but it takes practice
I mean, there's other
because it's
equipment
the belt.
for you to. We'll talk about other booty equipment later for you to next
Yeah,
secondarily
for
invest in.
sure.
But that squat rack that you got building downstairs,
Yeah, that one's
I'm
ready.
yeah,
That one's ready. I'll bring it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we had a hard time figuring that one out, but bring that up. Yeah, we do have a new machine coming up here, so probably this week. I'll get the forklift and I'll get it up here, put it in place, and then people can have fun with it. That should be a nice one. It seems pretty good.
It's gonna get used a lot.
Yeah, and and it's funny because it's Muscle D. The brand is Muscle D, which is kind of a knockoff. Well, I think Muscle Dynamics is what it used to be. Maxicam, Muscle
Oh,
Dynamics.
Maxicam.
Muscle Dynamics, and then yeah, Maxicam, Muscle Dynamics, and then they closed that, right? Shut down, whatever. A year's gone by, and then I think the guy who designed that, he got with an investor, Chinese guy, and then he was able to create these machines, and he calls it Muscle D. So, but it's the same dude. That's why the quality, even though it's Chinese, and I don't have a lot of Chinese equipment in
Is
here,
that the guy
it's
who's
good
like a
quality.
solo builder? There's this
I
one
don't
guy who's like
know.
a solo builder.
Well, this guy is a really good designer, and but he has this investor who owns the company who has a lot of money,
Hmm.
and so he went in with the guy, and then he was able. That's why if you see some of these machines, that Muscle D that I have that that bench press machine in the front there. You can do incline, flat,
Okay,
decline.
yeah, that is
That
the
one
guy. Yeah,
is
yeah.
Muscle D. Okay, that's Muscle D. I have the little kickback thing in here as Muscle D. The leg press, the vertical leg press is Muscle D. And now I got the squat machine. So they have some pretty cool pieces. Um, the quality, some of the stuff, it's like, yeah, it's a lighter quality metal, but it's good. It works good. The biggest thing is the design is good. Like the design is right. Because I feel like a lot of Chinese equipment, the design sometimes is off. It's
Hmm.
just doesn't, you're just doing it and you're like, man, why does this feel like it's just slightly off somewhere? It's not hitting the right angle.
It's Timu off.
Yeah, it's Timu off. Yeah, because when you jump on a hammer strength or something, to be honest, I mean, the angles are
Yeah,
perfect. They're
yeah, I
nice.
like him.
Like they put a lot of thought into it, right? But some of this Chinese stuff, you're just like, man, what's going on? So, but not Muscle D is really good. I like it. So, yeah, and that brand I can get here, Total Fitness USA, they get it. So it helps being here in Hawaii, right? It's hard to get equipment, so a lot of my stuff I bought used anyway when it was easy to get used equipment before 2020. I was getting a
Oh,
lot.
speaking of used equipment, that guy, Honolulu Fitness,
Yeah.
Lester, he's selling some shit, right? You're gonna
Yeah, I
check it
saw
out?
that. Yeah, I could use like a couple of treadmills, I think, maybe. That's fine.
Yeah, I know he was looking to sell. So for those of you guys who have
Yeah.
money,
Oh, that's the one next to
If you
where I
got
live.
if
yeah,
you got the space, really. I think that's the problem when you're trying to sell equipment out here in Hawaii. There's no space. People don't have big houses, or some people do, but most people don't.
no.
There's not a lot of space. Or, and I know in Hawaii people their garage is usually a storage unit, right? It's like
Yeah.
so it's not, or they turn it into like a gym or like a little like a man cave
Or
Man
or
cave.
somewhere
like
to
a
watch the UFC fights and
right.
drink
Yeah,
pig.
you'll see
Yeah.
like somewhere to watch UFC fights or so. Yeah, it's not like the mainland where I mean, yeah, people use their garages for their cars, but here, yeah. But yeah, that's cool. I might check them out. We'll see.
He just closed doors, so you might
He
want to get
did.
on it.
Yeah, it was like a week ago or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to find out. But yeah, interesting. So what else? We
For
don't.
you guys, again, I don't know if this got cut off, but yeah, I mean, you guys might have great shaped bodies, but if you guys are missing glutes, um, that's not symmetrical. So something for you to consider. Start working on that ass.
That ass. Mel Mel
You
thinks,
don't want to.
men should have that
You don't
ass.
want to look like a frog standing up. That's what I tell
I've
people.
seen those, man. I've seen they're so weird.
Big
It's such
back
a
and like
weird
no
body.
ass.
It's such a weird body when you see those guys like that, and it's just like, and their ass is in, and it's like, I'm like, oh wow, like, I mean, that's kind of the whole chicken leg thing, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's like,
flat
do you
ass.
even train legs, bro? Do you even train legs, bro?
I know.
Leg day, bro.
I mean, even for like men's physique now,
Yeah. Oh, they have legs
they
now.
made a statement where you kind of got to fill out the shorts a little bit more symmetrical.
Yeah. So I mean, you see them. They do have legs now. Those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. Speaking of that, so that new fit model division coming out, right?
Yeah.
Basically bikini, throwback to bikini 20, 2011, 2012 bikini. Like I think that's what it is pretty much. It looks like it, right?
Yeah.
Because the example, that video that they had was from the Arnold back in like
Yeah. And it was that
2011,
posing as well too from
2012.
that era.
Yeah, it was that front pose, that front shoulder turn. And yeah, and they weren't really jacked. They had nice shape. They were lean, but they didn't have a lot of muscle. And they looked natural. I think that was a big one, right? Like
Yeah.
the girls still looked like they were drug free.
So that's the thing as well too. Like in all honesty, even as of now, I think with a lot of hard work, women, you still could turn pro in bikini natural. So now that they're, creating this, not creating, but now that there's this new division of fitness model, I mean, it might be a little bit more healthy for the girls to.
Oh yeah. Well, because there's a lot of girls who don't want to take anything. And so this is perfect for them, you know?
Let's not forget, this is still a bodybuilding competition. This is not a weight loss journey, a fat loss, like transformation. This is a bodybuilding show. So yeah, that's my biggest thing about this whole division.
Bodybuilding is for everyone.
You know what I think's happening? Why they have to keep creating new divisions? Because
It's money.
that's one part.
Money.
And because when I watched the video, he's like, "Well, this is supposed to be entry level positions. Like, fucking bikini's the entry level position, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't cut it in bikini, hang it the fuck up and go home." When you come up, I think what's happening is they have to judge what's up there. So you take a look at men's physique; it was all beach bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then everybody started getting shredded and jacked, and like, okay, now that's all we have up there. So we have to reward somebody that's jacked and
Yeah.
shredded.
Pretty much.
And so once you do that, you set the bar higher.
Yep.
And now everybody thinks from their perspective is, oh, that's what they're rewarding now. I got to get bigger and leaner.
Yeah.
It's because as they grow, like you only can judge what's up there. It's not like you can disqualify everybody on the stage, right?
Yeah. That's true.
So as the guys, if they all keep getting bigger at the same time and stuff, the judges are forced to reward it.
Yeah.
I do think that's part of the problem. So now they have to create another division because God forbid there's differences between divisions. They all need to blur together so that we can make any reason to fucking have anybody win. That's starting to happen. I mean, you look at physique and figure and bikini and now this fitness, and you're like, it's just like the differences are getting real minute.
Yep.
It is.
And, in some of these divisions, not to talk shit about any judges or, because I've never done that, but from what I've seen, it's like some of these divisions you can make up anything to justify somebody winning.
Yep.
When there are guidelines online, but then they'll come out with some stuff, and you're like, "The fuck are you talking about?" It's just
Yeah.
it's hard because if you do make clear cut lines on what to judge, and then nobody it falls within those, it's like, "Fuck, what do we do now? We have to judge what's up there."
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one part that kind of sucks about this sport is, just the stuff I mentioned. So
Yeah, and I totally agree with both of you guys. For me, this makes six female divisions now, and
Yeah.
what the guys only have three, or maybe with 212, like four,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. A lot of female divisions. You're right.
Right.
So many different female
So should
divisions,
it be fair and guys come out with like a fit calendar body model type of thing?
like beach body or something,
Yeah,
right?
like bring
Like
it back
men's
down.
men's beach body, right? So
Yeah.
now, because like you said,
Call
Jed,
it
was
fit
like
model, men's fit model,
men's
whatever.
physique has become. I mean, these guys look like kind of
Classic.
classic bodybuilders
Yeah.
in shorts, like yeah, kind of. So it's like, okay, do you want to now go down and take it down a notch? And now there's a smaller version of that,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know. I mean, you really could,
Man,
but
could you imagine how long the shows are gonna
I
be?
was just about to
sh-
say a good compromise would be, okay, well, we'll go with all these divisions, but the top six are the only ones that are allowed to show up at night
Amen.
because, well, I heard the argument. Well, their families come and they spent this money. Well, they still fucking suck. So
this
maybe,
this
and this is from somebody who's not done well in bodybuilding, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. You know, maybe getting sent home early is what triggers you to start putting some more effort into it next time you show
Or
up.
come to the night show. And like how they do at nationals, you get one pose in the square and off the
Yeah.
stage.
Some
Mhm,
people like take forever out there.
that's true. They do. They milk that stage. Hey, it's their
And
opportunity.
and more people need to come to prejudging too, because that's where, if you know how the sport works, is where most of the excitement is at. The night show is just fucking bells and whistles.
Mm.
They the prejudging. I wish it was to where all the people showed up for prejudging.
Yeah.
'Cause then you would have people rooting and cheering and go because they're
Well,
comparing
because
people, and it would
that's
be a lot more
really when the
exciting.
competition
It would
is.
be more
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
Like you watch these old Olympians in the '90s when they're doing
Oh, it
prejudging,
was big.
and they're losing their shit in the
Oh, it was
crowd
crazy. Yeah, it
over. And
was
it's like, well,
crazy.
we can have that, but you have it at fucking 6, 7, 8, 9 in the morning, and nobody's going to show up.
Yeah, it was
But
crazy.
that's where all the cool shit
It
happens.
was fun.
Yeah.
I wish prejudging would be the big main event. I'd
Yeah.
be a lot more exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I really wish that the night shows, maybe top five, would be the ones that actually went through their posing routines, the ones that got rewarded. And if you didn't cut the top five, that means obviously you got to try harder.
Yeah,
That's it.
people. I said this the other
Hmm.
day. Sometimes your feelings are made to be hurt.
Yeah.
And the problem is not that people are getting their feelings hurt these days, is that they're not taught on how to fucking process it.
Yep.
They get their feelings hurt and they want to shoot up a school or go fucking beat up their girlfriend or something. It's like, no, that's not how you process that shit.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly. You get your feelings hurt. You got to learn how to process that and be like, okay, how can I not have this happen again? What can I do to do better? And I don't think people are being taught that anymore. So now we've compensated by being afraid to say anything to anybody, you
Mm.
know? So I agree. I think if you don't qualify, sucks your family's here. Well, at least you're in Hawaii. You can go have some fun,
Yeah.
but you're not coming on stage tonight.
How do you guys, I mean, we've been here coaching, doing things, helping with the industry. How do you guys honestly think the competition been in Hawaii? Do you honestly think they have a fair shake in the mainland? Are we bringing the fucking thunder here?
For open bodybuilding, I don't think so.
No.
Every once in a while, we'll have somebody that does really well. Like I know a couple that I've seen since I've been on island that have started in the amateur ranks and that have turned pro and look pretty good. But I think a lot of them are in the other divisions, like physique and bikini mostly. I may be wrong. That's just what I've seen. I
Yeah, I
think
mean, we
middle
don't
of
have that
do.
many that do well. I don't think. In the Masters, we actually surprisingly do. We do pretty good in Masters, but
People age better here.
in the Open,
Yeah.
like, no, not really. There's
Like
not a
to
lot.
be honest with you, through the years, I hadn't seen very many breakout athletes. Like you look at them, they come on stage and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that in much of any division,
Mm.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about that.
No, I can understand that. I can understand that. Or people that have made it much past getting their pro card. There's a couple of people that have done like the New York Pro and stuff, but they never placed very well.
Yeah. Or just like
Yeah.
out of Hawaii in
Well, out of
itself.
Hawaii and made it to a high level pro show, right? Like we got a bunch of pros here, and they've competed in some pro shows, and maybe they placed here and there, but placing in like an Arnold or like a near pro or Olympia or one of the big shows, right? Like we haven't
But
really had
even
anybody.
dial it back from like days when you were competing, people were they were turning out. Like the competition you had back when you were competing, I mean, you guys were freaks back then. I mean, anybody at that time could have been standout, athletes. But now it's just it's not the same in
Mm,
my opinion.
You
yeah.
think the training has something to do with that? Everybody's so in all these weird. I know we've talked about it before, but as you were saying that, all I keep seeing is kids doing this shit with the fucking cable instead of doing pull downs.
See,
And it's
yeah,
like they never did that shit in
Moaning.
the '90s, but they had
I
some
know.
of the best backs out of the '90s between
It's
Haney and
that's
Cole.
that exercise I'm
You never
talking
seen
about.
fucking Lee Haney or Ronnie Coleman get on a laying on a bench and doing this shit?
No,
Nobody ever
they never
fucking did that.
did. That's what I'm saying. They never did, dude. Like they never did. Yeah, and to this day, like Dorian Yates got one of the best backs
Dorian
ever.
Yates.
I don't know.
Yep.
And then
And even
people,
Haney.
when you do get them under an exercise, and they start getting tired or I'm not going to say pain. I'm going to say discomfort because there's a difference. They immediately rack it up and stop, and it's like you just got to the point to where you're going to start building muscle and you
That's where
fucking
it
quit.
actually counts.
You know,
Mm,
or the one thing that irks me the most is when it starts getting hard. So instead of doing 4 reps, they start doing half reps because they're more worried about hitting the
mm,
number than they are like crashing before the number for the hit.
yeah, yeah.
Like I'd rather you go all the way down a leg press and get 6 out of the 10 than do 10 and half of them look like shit.
Yeah.
But you try to
Yeah,
reprogram the people, but some of these people are fucking stubborn. They just don't want to listen.
Does it
that's
go
true.
back to the whole what we're talking about? Like people are just fucking now.
I think.
I don't know. Maybe it's the quality, the food quality, and maybe even the gear is just like it's like Chinese. Everything's Chinese.
Yeah, it's
So
all from China.
maybe like before back in the day. I mean, we got a lot of stuff from Europe, and
Germany.
it was German, and yeah, there was a lot of good gear, and maybe it wasn't as much gear, but it was the quality was
You
there.
didn't need
So
as much.
you didn't. No,
Yeah.
you really didn't. That's why when you look at the numbers, people always go, "Oh, Lee Priest or Dorian Yates or these guys or Kevin LeBron took," and then you listen to what they say, and they have no reason to lie about it now. And you're going, "Wow, is that all those guys did?" I mean, they listen to all of them. They all kind of about the same amounts.
Yeah.
Sure, there was some people that took crazy amounts, and they've actually admitted it. But some of the best guys, you're like, wow, you really didn't take that much stuff. And look how great he
They
looks. So
didn't do 3 cc's.
I mean, they look good. Like I don't even think Coleman did that much gear.
No,
Of
and
what
it was
people
late in
think.
his years that he
Yeah,
actually started
he's
taking
He
right.
gear.
turned pro natural.
He was a natural. You can tell.
I mean,
You can
besides his
tell when he
genetics,
turned
I
after he turned
mean,
pro how big he got. You're like, oh yeah, this dude was drug free, crazy. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? But
no, I
it's
on
hard to
yeah,
say.
back to the whole training, how the body is turning out and stuff like that. I mean, the yeah, I honestly think um it's a different breed, different generation. The ethics are very different, and
Hmm.
we need to make men men again and give them
You
fucking
make a hat,
testosterone.
make men again. Make a hat.
I think being able to use the internet also skews these people. So like, well, so and so does 40 exercises for back. I'm like, I don't care. We're doing 3.
40.
Oh, I'm just exaggerating. Like they'll
Yeah,
say, well, they'll do like 5 or 6 exercises for back. I'm like, we're
yeah,
gonna do 4. And if you're not tired by the end of that fourth one, you didn't do enough.
yeah.
That's what I was just having this conversation with somebody, and you know who you are. We did 3 fucking solid, not me. I was just counting reps. 3 solid back exercises. And I was telling him, if you're on your fifth, sixth, seventh machine, so that means your first 3 machines, you're fucking sandbagging, like you're
Yeah.
wasting time. If you have that much energy, you're obviously not doing the first portion of your exercise
Yeah, you're not
properly.
going heavy enough. You're
And
not. You're
there's
not pushing
something
it.
too. I mean, I know time under tension, all that matters, and it does. But there's something too hitting that sticking point where you can't move anymore and just getting a little bit more past that through a drop set or somebody helping you with a forced rep or something like that, or just even holding it there and squeezing and doing anything to extend that last set.
Hmm.
And if you do that for 3 or 4 exercises after you do your working sets, you're going to be taxed. And there is something about it's almost like you literally have to think you're tearing your muscle down
Mm.
rather than just pumping it up. Like, well, I'm tired. You're tired because you did all this shit, but then you probably didn't break down a fiber at all. You're just fucking off,
Yeah.
you know?
That makes sense.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see it a
Well,
lot.
yep. Training. I mean, that's what we talk about a lot on here too. Training, and
So speaking of
so
training, as we wrap up this year, what are
yeah.
your guys' personal goals for 2025 as fitness people here?
I want to do one more contest.
Oh wow.
One more
I'm good.
contest.
Okay.
So I gotta strategize that one, but that's my goal.
What are you going to
Well,
work on and improve into going into this contest besides actually posing and giving a fuck?
Yeah. Um. Well, I mean, I can diet down. The the last few weeks of the contest, I have to make sure that I'm just staying calm and not trying to do anything stupid because that's usually where my mind fuck myself out of it. Getting bigger without getting too overweight's always been an issue. So that's where I'm concentrating on a lot. I actually know I've thought about going to a 4 day. I remember when I was younger, I used to do a 4 day and I always grew better. I
hmm.
think,
Well, we're older now. Maybe the 4 day might help better, so you have better recovery as
because
well too.
you have like a whole arm day, and like if you're trying to lose weight and get in shape, you need the caloric expenditure part. I
Sure.
understand a 5 day,
Yeah.
but you go 4 day and like, okay, we only have two tricep exercises, then fucking that you're mentally already set up to where you have to give everything out on those,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be what I just talked about earlier, is giving you more chance to grow.
Yeah.
So if I have a chest day and I have like what I'll usually do is I'll do like 3 hard pressing exercises, then later in the week I'll do a couple fly movements to pump it up. But that chest day of those 3 exercises, that's all I'm
Yep.
going out on. And I've noticed like Friday I do that, and Friday evening I'm sore, like by that evening. So I'm gonna start backing off on the volume a little bit and going more on the intent. Now, if I do a bunch of sets for one exercise, that's okay. I mean, working up to it, but I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna come off the 5 day and go 4 and see if I grow better. I think it'll work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like not to say that because we're older, but if you're tearing down that much, people really misconceive how important recovery is as well too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. Me for 2025, I just want to get shredded. No, I'm just kidding.
You gonna do another master's physique?
No, yeah, never.
Yeah.
Uh, never say never, but no. I've been just doing maintenance, to be honest, like fitness training wise. It's just I train 2 days a week right now, so I do full bodies 2 days a week. Works really good because then I also got my jujitsu that I do probably 3 or 4 days a week. So that's a lot more cardio, right? But lifting weights though, I feel like 2 days a week for me is actually really good because I can hit everything. It's a decent workout. Like I do different things, but I pretty much hit the whole body and every workout, and it seems to work really well. And I get to recover fine. And because I am doing jujitsu, I kind of need that extra recovery. And yeah, I like 2 days. I mean, I definitely was considering doing three, and basically the next day would be like a functional training day.
Yeah.
So two full body workouts, kind of bodybuilding style ish, like that, and then one day, probably in the middle, right? Like full body, and then functional, and then full body. Split it up over the week, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. But I haven't committed to that yet. So 2 days for me is good. I don't really miss it. I don't miss the workouts really. I'm able to get them in, which is nice. And I don't really hurt. That's the big thing. Like I try to train to where because I'm not trying to get bigger or nothing, my body doesn't really hurt after the workouts, and that's the goal for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt, so I don't do as many sets, right? Because I'm splitting it up over the course of 2 days over the week, so I can do maybe say 6 sets for back, 6 sets for chest, right? But then I do that twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
so it ends up becoming 12 sets total
Yeah.
over the course of a week for that body part. It's pretty good. Yeah, and I actually like it. I feel like it's been maintaining my muscle. I haven't been getting injuries, and I feel really good doing it. So, and I've been like perfecting that program as I've been going. I have a really good system right now. So I want to definitely add in functional because I do sometimes throw in functional stuff on one of my days. Sometimes I'll mix it in a little bit because I like to do that. And I mean like functional is like,
It's very practical for day to day, especially as we age with your jujitsu,
yeah, oh
So
yeah, for sure. Like I think it's yeah, and well, my age too, right? Like I don't think my joints just pounding away heavy weight, doing 12 to 16 sets per body part on one day, my joints is just not gonna like that. And
Yeah.
they ain't gonna like it. And I notice it. So, and I don't want to get inflamed. I don't want so much inflammation all over my body where I'm hurting for 3, 4 days, and then
Oh
I don't
yeah.
want to train jujitsu. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that to myself? So, you have to find a happy medium. But definitely like I said, I do some functional stuff, and my functional stuff's pretty simple. Like, I might do like a sled push, farmer's carry, or a farmer's walk. Kettlebell swings, some toes to bar, knee ups, um, things like that. Like, like a ball throw or a heavy pick up the ball, like a clean throw it behind my back or slam it. Just simple, very simple. Not even CrossFit. People say CrossFitish, but it's not even. But it's good. Like getting those movements right. You're moving in different ways instead of just doing strictly bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So and yeah, and ever since I changed, because I used to do a lot of bodybuilding, and man, I used to hurt. I used to hurt
Yeah.
all the time. And then sometimes I would be aching for 3 days, and I didn't want to work out again. I'd skip a workout because I was still tired. So now this is better. Like this is so much better.
Yeah.
So
Daily functional movement
yeah,
patterns is so important.
so that's my goal is just to keep in shape, and then I mean, I'm back doing jujitsu more often now after I got injured. So my Achilles tendon. So I'd like to just improve that. Like it's like a hobby of mine that it's good, it's something I can work on and try to get better at. Been doing it for a while, but I'm still average at best. It's really difficult, but yeah, but that's cool. That's like for me, simple and feel good, right? Pain free, feel good, don't get injured.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy when you get older. It's not even about like, oh, I want to get to this PR or I want to look like this. Is more like I don't want to get injured.
Yeah.
Like that's like the goal. Like, hey, I didn't get injured. Like that's so cool. Like wow, like it's like a big thing, right?
Yes,
Never thought of that
absolutely.
before, but and even like the weights, like I'm going to a certain amount of weight and I'm kind of just stopping. Like say 225 on like the bench or something, like incline presses or whatever. I stay there. I'm not going to keep pushing up above. I don't really feel a need. So I may slow it down. I may hold the reps a little bit more, squeeze, but I'm not gonna progressively just keep going heavier and heavier because I could, right? But then I feel like I put myself in a higher
But at
risk of
the
getting
same
injured.
time, like lifting a lot smarter, making better muscle connections, slowing it
Yeah.
down, it's so much more
Oh
conducive to
yeah.
muscle growth
And you
and your
feel good.
tendons.
It
Yeah.
feels good. Like it feels good holding that weight, and getting that stretch and just contracting and staying under that weight longer. Like I don't know. I feel really good doing that. And even on leg stuff too. I go half the weight that I used to go on leg presses and stuff. Like, but it's fine. Like it's okay. Like I feel good. I just burn it out. I'm like, yeah, it's just maintenance, man.
Yep.
So how about you?
As far as myself, I'm not even gonna lie when I say this. I just don't want to get fat for 2025.
All right. Well, you're being
That's
honest.
that's a huge goal because I mean, through the shit and roller coaster of life that I've been through, um, for me to get into the gym maybe 2 to 3 times a week, that's a blessing for me. And I have to figure out, just like how you've been, trying
Mhm.
to do enough,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where you maintain a little bit of muscle growth or keep muscle tissue, Jed's
Mhm.
favorite word, um, tissue.
Muscle
So,
tissue.
but you stave off a little bit more fat and stuff like that, and you have that look good, feel good beach body year round, not ashamed to get disrobe yourself at the beach since we do live on an island. And I had that before where I was fat as shit and I didn't want to like I stayed covered up and I was like, no, I'm not gonna jump in the water. I'm
Hmm.
just gonna hang out. And man, that was embarrassing
That's
because I was
funny.
fat coming from somebody who used to apparently bodybuild, right? I mean,
Mhm.
life happens. I got derailed and I right now I'm in a happy medium where I'm still trying to find my stride and I really just don't want to get fat again. If I could make it in the gym 2 times, 3 times a week, I gotta chalk it up as a win, especially with the body aches that I got going on.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
What else do I have in store for 2025? I don't know. I know I was doing it before on my own personal page, my fitness page. I was talking a little bit more about gear, peptides, the use of it, and just like short little 1 minute whatever excerpts, and whether or not people want to listen or intrigued about it is a thing. But now like we talked about with RFK coming in, and him wanting to establish more of the PRP and all of that other stuff, it might be good so to give people a little bit more information in regards to that. Um, what else are my goals for 2025? Yeah, honestly, just
Just
as
don't get fat.
as vain as it sounds,
It's a good goal.
don't do trend, kids. Don't be a and don't get fat. That's my goals.
Oh, you know
That's
what?
good advice.
Since we're taking the next couple weeks off, you guys start. I think I'm gonna set a Rumble channel to put our episodes up too, so that way I
Okay.
don't have to like bleep stuff out.
Okay.
That way, when Jeff goes on his rants, I can leave them
Oh
in there.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
So, but I've been debating on it. But if you guys listen to this one, go check us. Go check out an ad on Rumble. Also, it's easier to monetize. We don't have to meet all these requirements. It's just somebody wants to put an ad on there. You make a few cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
Rumble, we can talk about alleged
and we can
conspiracies.
talk about whatever we want.
Ooh,
It's a free speech.
Alleged.
People should go over there and join it just because it's a free speech platform and just
Yeah,
support that
Yeah.
cause,
absolutely.
whether you agree with what's on there or not. Over the next couple weekends, I might start uploading because I've got most of these episodes backlogged somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New
Yes.
Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Stay
New
safe.
Year. And yeah, be good out there,
Hug
people.
your loved
And
ones. Tell them you love them. Do all the nice, kind things, and um, yeah, have a happy holidays.
you never know what someone's going through, people. I'm
Yeah,
joking, but
it's
kind of
true.
serious. But yeah. And it's holidays, so holidays for me can be stressful sometimes because I'm like, oh man, people want to do stuff.
It's Hawaii, so it's
So
hard to get in the holiday spirit in Hawaii because it's
yeah, it's
fucking 80
different.
degrees every day.
It's different, but yeah. So anyway, well, thank you for joining us for 2024, and we'll see you back in
See you next
2025.
year.
And aloha.